North Texas takes on Appalachian State, and that's going to be some Monday, December 21st action. That's the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and we're looking at a 2:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. The Appalachian State Mountaineers are minus 20.5, total 65, juice to the over. We're 5-1 with a push in our last 7 board member tier package picks on patreon.com/Brock Page. We're also hitting at 67% in our last 15 NFL tier package picks on that site as well. We currently have over 775 members signed up and active on that page. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/Brock Page. Now the North Texas Mean Green, they are currently plus 650 for an upset win. Now, North Texas lost to Texas San Antonio in their last outing, and that was an embarrassing 49-17 loss to the Roadrunners. The Mean Green defense is giving up 41 points per contest and 535 total yards a game. They're taking on a very good Appalachian State squad who's won 2 out of their last 3 themselves, and that includes a 47-10 drubbing of the Troy Trojans. Now, the Mountaineers are scoring 32 points a game, and they're rushing for 243 yards a game on the ground. Cameron Proles, is it Proles or Peels? Or I think I misspelled it, but anyway, he's rushing for nearly 6 yards a carry and has scored 7 times this season on the ground. Meanwhile, defensively, Appalachian State is giving up just 19 points per contest and only 169 yards passing per game. Now, Brendan Harrington has 4 interceptions from that linebacker spot, 5 PBUs and a pick 6. Trey Cobb also leads this Mountaineer defense with 79 total tackles, along with 3 sacks. Appalachian State has won 7 out of their last 8 ball games against Conference USA. And when it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Appy State's last 4 ball games got over the posted number. Meanwhile, 2 out of North Texas's last 3 got over the line themselves, throwing out the San Antonio game. I'm going to lean toward the Appalachian State Mountaineers minus 20.5 and the over 65 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for college football week 17. I guess this is officially the bowl week. One of, I guess, a couple bowl weeks. I don't really... They got week 0 and bowl week, and I don't even know if this week is numbered. Is it called week 17 or is it a bowl week? I don't know. But anyway, before we dive into some more free content, just got to quickly remind you once again that we are hitting at 64% in our last 12 NFL tier package picks on patreon.com/Brock Page. We're also 5-1 with a push in our last 7 board member tier package picks on that site as well. Now, you might be wondering, why would you sign up for picks on Patreon where you can get them right here for free on YouTube? Why would you pay for picks when I'm giving it to you all here for free? And that's certainly a great thought, a great consideration. But if you were to go out there and bet every single game that's on the board that side and total like I do with my breakdowns here on YouTube, it's certainly not a winning formula for success. And as a matter of fact, it's a recipe for disaster. The books are just way too smart. They're way too sharp with the numbers. The odds become massively more against you the more and more games you play like that. And to be honest with you, the bookies just have so much more money than you and I do combined to be able to absorb that type of ridiculous, overblown action. So what I do on Patreon is I break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're my personal plays, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, I'm having a lot more success betting on games that way in small sample sizes versus wagering on every single game that's on the card, side and total. Now, if you guys were wondering, we currently have over 775 members signed up and active on that Patreon site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, I'd love to have you. I strongly recommend it. I think it's a great idea for you to do that. And the link for that website is in the description section below. And once again, that is patreon.com/Brock Page. And with that, guys, we got ourselves a whole week full of bowl action. We got every day covered. So let's go ahead and dive into some Tuesday action. I'm talking about the Idaho Potato Bowl on December 22nd, Tulane versus Nevada. And that's going to be a 3:30 p.m. Eastern start time on the Smurf Turf in Boise. Now, the Tulane Green Wave is -3 with the total at 55.5 juice to the over. The Nevada Wolfpack's +135 for some money line cash. Now, Nevada's 6-2 straight up on the season, 5-3 against the spread in those ball games. The Wolfpack's averaging 30 points a game and throwing for over 325 yards per contest. Romeo Dubs is averaging 120 receiving yards per contest and over 18 yards per reception. Dubs also has himself 9 touchdown receptions on the year and just 40 yards away from 1,000 receiving yards on the season. Meanwhile, defensively on the other side of the ball, the Wolfpack's giving up just 22 points per contest. Tyson Williams has 53 total tackles on the season from the secondary, 2 interceptions and a forced fumble for the defensive back. Now, Nevada's successfully covered the number in their last 5 straight when catching points. They're taking on a Tulane squad who's lost 3 of 6 away from home this season. The Green Wave also allowed 33 points per contest away from home and 345 passing yards per game in that same category. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, Tulane's gone 60% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, 2 out of Nevada's last 3 got over the line themselves, throwing out the San Jose State contest. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Nevada Wolfpack +3 and the over 55.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and slide into some more Tuesday action, and that's going to be the Boca Raton Bowl on December 22nd, and that is UCF versus BYU, and that's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff at FAU Stadium. Now, BYU's the 7-point favorite, total 71.5. The Central Florida Knights are plus $1.70 for some money line cash. UCF's won 4 out of their last 5 ball games. 45 points a game they averaged during that stretch. The Knights won 4 of 5 away from home this season, and they also averaged over 50 points per contest away from home as well. Dylan Gabriel's thrown for over 3,300 yards on the season through 9 ball games and 30 touchdown passes. The Knights have also rushed for 22 TDs on the ground, and they also had a pair of rushers who combined for nearly 1,300 yards rushing. Now, the UCF Knights also threw for 418 yards a game away from home, and they rushed for 252 yards a game in that same category. Now, standout wide receiver Marlon Williams, he did opt out of the bowl game for the Knights, so just keep that in mind. But regardless, Knights very good offensively this year. Now, they're taking on a BYU squad who's failed to cover the point spread in their last 2 straight, and one of those failures to cover was an outright loss to Coastal Carolina, where they scored just 17 points all game. Now, the Cougars have also failed to cover the number in 3 out of their last 6, and that includes a failure to cover against Western Kentucky. Now, this BYU defense, as good as they've been this season, they did give up over 110 yards a game rushing, and the Cougars have a slew of guys who are either listed as questionable or out for the bowl game. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, BYU did see their last 2 straight stay under the posted number. Meanwhile, the Cougs also went 60% to the under in their last 10. Now, UCF, on the other side of things, they saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the line themselves, throwing out the South Florida game. I'm going to lean toward yet another underdog in this one. Give me the underdog, UCF Knights +7 and the under 72. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some Wednesday action, and that is December 23rd. And we're going to take a look at the New Orleans Bowl, Georgia Southern versus Louisiana Tech, 3:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff in the Superdome. Georgia Southern is -6 with a total at 50 juice to the over. Louisiana Tech is +175 on the money line. Now, Louisiana Tech averaged 28 points per contest, and they've won their last 9 straight against the Sun Belt Conference. Tyler Grubbs has 84 total tackles on the season, 2 PBUs, and a forced fumble for the linebacker. Meanwhile, B.J. Williams has 3 interceptions from the secondary, 1 forced fumble, and 52 total tackles. Now, they're taking on a Georgia Southern team who lost 4 of 5 ball games away from home this season. The Eagles have also lost 3 out of their last 4 contests, and they throw for just 102 yards per game. Very run-heavy offense for the Eagles. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Georgia Southern's last 5 ball games got over the posted total. Meanwhile, Louisiana Tech saw their last 2 straight get over the number themselves, 3-1 to the over in their last 4. I'm going to lean toward yet another underdog in this one. Give me the underdog Louisiana Tech Bulldogs plus 6 in the over 50 in that game. And with that, we're going to dive into some more Wednesday action. This time it's going to be the Montgomery Bowl. I'm talking about FAU versus Memphis, 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Memphis is minus 8.5 with the total at 50 flat. The Owls of Florida Atlantic are plus 275 for an outright victory. Now, FAU's won 4 out of their last 6 ball games. Just 7 points per contest on average they gave up in those victories. FAU's giving up just 16 points per contest for the entire season and just 176 yards passing per game. Leighton McCarthy has 9 total sacks on the season through just 8 ball games, 40 total tackles, and a forced fumble. Meanwhile, Chase Lassiter also has 65 total tackles on the year. He's actually the team leader in that category. Now, the Owls are taking on a Memphis squad who's 0-3 against the spread away from home this season. And out of their 9 ball games on the year, the Tigers have successfully covered the point spread in just 3 of those games. Memphis scored just 19 points per contest away from home this season, and they rushed for only 85 yards per game in that same category. The Tigers also gave up 38 points per contest away from their home field, 333 passing yards a game they gave up in that same category as well. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, Memphis' last 2 straight stayed under the posted number. The Tigers are officially 6-3 to the under for the entire year. Meanwhile, FAU went 6-2 to the under for the entire season themselves. We're going to lean toward yet another underdog in this one. Give me the FAU Owls plus 8.5 in the under 50 in that contest. And with that, we're going to dive into some Thursday action. That's December 24th, Christmas Eve. And we're talking about the New Mexico Bowl at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas, oddly enough. New Mexico Bowl in Texas. But anyway, we're talking about Houston squaring off with Hawaii. Now, the Houston Cougars are minus 13 with the total at 60.5. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors are plus 310 for an outright win. Now, Hawaii is coming off a nice 17-point victory over UNLV. They put up 38 total points in that ball game. The Rainbow Warriors have also won 2 out of their last 3. And that includes a win over a very good Nevada team. They held the Wolfpack to just 21 points in that ball game. Shavon Cordero is throwing for over 1,900 yards and 11 TD passes. Running back Calvin Turner has 729 total yards from scrimmage and 9 touchdowns. Now they're taking on a Houston squad who's lost 3 out of their last 4 themselves, and that includes a 44-21 loss to UCF during that stretch. As a matter of fact, the Cougs gave up 33 points per contest on average during that 4-game span I was just talking about. Houston's also failed to cover the point spread in 4 out of their last 6 ball games. This Houston D is giving up 33 points a game and over 415 total yards from scrimmage. The Cougs have also lost 6 out of their last 8 against the Mountain West. And when it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Houston's last 4 stayed under the posted number. Meanwhile, Hawaii saw their last 3 straight stay under the line themselves. 6-2 to the under for the entire year. I'm going to lean toward yet another underdog in this one. Give me the underdog, Hawaii Rainbow Warriors plus 13 and the under 60.5. And with that, we're going to dive into some Friday action, some Christmas Day action, and that is the Camellia Bowl, Marshall versus Buffalo, 2:30 p.m. Eastern start time in Montgomery. This should be a good ball game here, folks. The Buffalo Bulls are minus 3 with the total at 54.5. Buffalo scoring 48 points per contest this season. 310 rushing yards a game they're averaging as well. Now keep an eye on Jared Patterson. He's a bit banged up, although many experts are pretty confident he'll play this Friday. I think That -3 number kind of indicates he's going to play as well. But anyway, Patterson's rushed for over 1,000 yards in just 6 ball games, 7.6 yards per carry. He's averaging. Patterson's rushed for 179 yards a game and also 19 touchdowns on the ground as well. Even Buffalo's second leading rusher Kevin Marks is rushing for over 100 yards a game and scored 6 times on the ground through 6 ball games himself. Meanwhile, this Buffalo defense is giving up just 23 points per contest and only 217 passing yards a game. James Patterson's leading the Buffalo defense with 54 tackles along with 2 PBUs and an interception. The Bulls have successfully covered the point spread in 11 out of their last 14, dating back to last season. Meanwhile, Marshall on the other side, they're coming fresh off a 9-point loss to UAB in their conference championship game. The Thundering Herd mustered up just 13 total points in that defeat. Marshall's also throwing for just 194 yards a game away from home this season. Meanwhile, when it comes to the total on this one, Marshall saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the posted number. 5 out of the Herd's last 8 got over the line as well. Meanwhile, 3 out of Buffalo's last 4 got over the posted total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Buffalo Bulls -3 in the over 54.5 in that contest. And with that, we're going to dive into some Saturday action. We're going to start off with the Cure Bowl, and that's going to be Liberty versus Coastal Carolina, 12 p.m. Eastern start time in Orlando. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers are -6 with a total at 59.5. The Liberty Flames are +$2 for an upset win. Now, Liberty's been exceedingly reliant on the run this year. Just 176 passing yards a game they've averaged away from home. Now, the Flames are also allowing over 140 rush yards a game away from their home field as well. Liberty suffered their lone loss of the 2020 season back on November 21st to NC State, and the Wolfpack held them to just 14 total points in that defeat. Now they're taking on an undefeated Coastal Carolina team who just put up 42 on Troy in the Sun Belt Championship. The Chants have successfully covered the point spread in 8 out of their last 9 ball games as well. Now we're looking at a Coastal Carolina team who's scoring nearly 38 points per contest on average for the entire season, and they're rushing for over 220 yards a game as well. C.J. Marable's rushed for over 800 yards this year, along with a dozen TDs on the ground. And of course, can't forget about quarterback Grayson McCall, who's also rushed for nearly 500 yards himself, and he's punched it into the end zone 6 times on the ground as well. Now, McCall's also thrown for nearly 2,200 yards, along with 23 touchdown passes. Now, his favorite target's been Javon Hiley, who's caught 52 balls for 820 yards and 10 touchdowns. Meanwhile, defensively, on the other side of the ball here, Coastal's held their opponents to just 18 points per contest all season. DeJordan Strong has 5 interceptions from the secondary, 5 PBUs, and a pick 6. And of course, can't forget about edge rusher Teron Jackson, who also recorded 8.5 sacks on the season, along with 3 forced fumbles. Now, the Chants have successfully covered the number in 5 out of their last 6 when laying the points. And when it comes to the scoring in this ball game here, 5 out of Coastal's last 8 ball games stayed under the line. Meanwhile, Liberty on the other side saw their last 2 straight stay under the number themselves. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers -6 and the under 59.5. All right, next ball game I have for you. It is not on our big screen behind me, but it is a game of interest, of course, and I'm talking about South Carolina versus UAB, and that is officially the Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa, 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff at Raymond James Stadium. The UAB Blazers are -4.5 with a total at 45 and a hook. UAB's won their last 2 straight, 22-13 victory over Marshall in the Conference USA Championship this past week. Now, the Blazers have given up 16 points or less in 5 out of their last 7 games, playing very good defensively. As a matter of fact, this Blazer defense is giving up just 21 points per contest for the entire season and only 175 yards a game passing. Christopher Mull leads the Blazers in tackles with 59 of them. He also has a pair of sacks and 2 PBUs from that linebacker position. UAB's won 11 out of their last 12 when favored. Now they're taking on a terrible South Carolina team who lost their last 6 straight, gave up 41 points or more in 5 out of those 6 contests. I guess the bowl selection committee's really struggling to get teams to participate here. Now the Gamecocks have also lost 4 out of their last 5 away from home, and they gave up nearly 40 points a game in that same category. South Carolina also gave up 468 yards a game on average away from home. And when it comes to the total on this one, the Gamecocks' last 2 straight got over the posted number, 70% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, UAB went 60% to the over away from home this season themselves. I'm going to lean toward the UAB Blazers, minus 4.5, and the over 45 and a hook in that game. All right, next matchup. Once again, it's a Saturday game. Unfortunately, it is not on our big screen behind me, but it is the First Responder Bowl, and that's going to be Louisiana versus Texas, San Antonio, 3:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff at Ford Stadium in Dallas. The Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns are minus 13, totals 59 juice to the over. The Texas San Antonio Roadrunners are plus 375 for an outright win. Now, the Roadrunners failed to cover the point spread in 2 out of their last 3, throwing out the North Texas game. UTSA's also lost 3 out of their last 5 away from their home field. The Roadrunners throw for just 199 yards a game, and they find themselves giving up over 150 yards a game on the ground defensively. UTSA also lost 4 out of their last 5 straight up when catching the points. They're taking on a Louisiana squad who's on a 6-game winning streak themselves, 3-0 against the spread in their last 3 straight. The Cajuns finished 9-1 straight up on the season and had marquee wins over the likes of UAB and Iowa State. Louisiana scored 34 points a game on average, and they rushed for nearly 210 yards per contest on the ground. Elijah Mitchell's rushed for 751 yards and 7 TDs. He averaged over 6 yards a carry. Meanwhile, senior running back Trey Ragas also rushed for 660 yards along with 9 scores on the ground himself. This Ragin' Cajun defense on the other side of the ball also held their opponents to just 140 yards a game passing away from their home field. The Cajuns went a perfect 6-0 straight up away from home this year. And when it comes to the total on this one, Louisiana saw 3 out of their last 4 stay under the posted number. 6 out of their last 8 also stayed under the line. Meanwhile, Texas San Antonio saw their last 2 straight stay under the total themselves. The Roadrunners also saw 7 out of their last 8 stay under the number as well. I'm going to lean toward the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, minus 13, and the under 59. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Western Kentucky versus Georgia State, and that is the Lendingtree Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. That's going to be a 3:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff in Lad Pebble Stadium. Georgia State is minus 4.5, totals 53 and a hook. Georgia State is on a 2-game winning streak, 4-2 straight up in their last 6. The Panthers averaged 33 points a game on offense and gained over 415 yards per contest. Destin Coates and Tucker Gregg combined for nearly 1,100 rushing yards and a dozen touchdowns on the ground. Meanwhile, wideout Sam Pinckney caught 44 balls for 753 yards and 6 scores himself. Pinckney averaged over 17 yards per reception. Now they're taking on a Western Kentucky squad who averaged just 17 points per contest and less than 280 yards a game. Western Kentucky's gone just 2-8 against the spread in their 10 ball games on the season as well. The Hilltoppers also scored 14 points or less in their last 6 straight, throwing out the Florida International contest. And when it comes to the total in this one, 4 out of Western Kentucky's last 5 contests stayed under the posted number. Meanwhile, 2 out of Georgia State's last 3 stayed under the total themselves. Give me the Georgia State Panthers minus 4.5 and the under 53 and a hook in that game. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. where we are 5-1 with a push in our last 7 board member tier package picks. I like Appalachian State minus 20.5 over 65. I'm also leaning toward Nevada plus 3 over 55 and a hook. I like UCF plus 7 under 72. I also like Louisiana Tech plus 6 over 50 points. I'm leaning toward FAU plus 8.5 under 50. I also like Hawaii plus 13 under 60 and a hook. I'm leaning toward Buffalo minus 3 over 54.5. I also like Coastal Carolina minus 6 under 59 and a hook. I like UAB minus 4.5 over 45 and a hook. I also like Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns minus 13 under 59. And last but certainly not least, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up right now if you enjoyed it by smashing the like button. And please feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I'm going to lean toward the Georgia State Panthers minus 4.5 in the under 53 and a hook in that game. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some shout-outs. And from our YouTube platform, shout out to Bo Dunn, Vernon Williard, Kevin Taylor, Jack Tams, Armando Garcia, Cedric Ratliff, Lamar Barrow, DeJuan Haynes, Sean Mejias, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my friend, Aunt Ruga. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.